So, yes, we are recording the video now, and let me start to present. Uh, can you guys see my screen? Can you please confirm the chat box, guys? Today is the day 4 of the Million Rupee International Career Workshop. Please confirm if you can see my screen. I can see a message yes, which says yes. Perfect, awesome. All right. Very warm welcome to the day 4 of Million Rupee International Career Workshop. I'll before I start, as always, I will sum up what we have done on the last 3 days. Day 1 was all about how to choose a country. Day 2 was all about how to choose a course and how to see the information on various courses available across the chosen country yourself. We had shared with you all the tools country wise, okay, and province wise. For example, in Canada, we had shared with you the course search softwares, the government softwares, province wise. Right, and on day 3, which was yesterday, we had talked about we had sorry we had spoken about we had talked about how should you prepare to submit your application, going forward. How should you decide upon which institute to study in, how to choose what institute to study in, what factors should you keep in mind while deciding to study in, while deciding to apply to an institute. What should you think, how should you plan, what should you look at, when you want to finalize or shortlist some institutes to study abroad. Okay, so today is day 4. Day 4, I am going to talk about, as we inch closer to tomorrow, when where we would be submitting the applications to the chosen institutes for our admission. Today is the day where I'm going to talk about the application package. What should you be careful about when you're putting together your application package? And very specifically, I'm going to spend some time on something called a statement of purpose. Guys, a statement of purpose is one document which now a lot of institutions across various countries are asking at the time of admission itself. So basically, a statement of purpose is in a way you talking about yourself on a paper, or in a digital way, and describing yourself to the institute, to the admission officer. Okay, you would talk about who you are, where you're from, what is the motivation behind studying abroad, what is the motivation behind studying a particular course, what is the motivation behind studying in the institute you're applying. So uh, as the name describes, is self-explanatory. Statement of purpose, it is also called an essay in case of USA. It is also called, you call it a statement of purpose, you can call it an essay, you can call it a motivation letter. The gist is the same. It is used at a couple of stages: one at the time of admission, and second also at the time of the visa application. The High Commission also wants to see your statement of purpose. So what we prepare now, what you prepare now, would also help you. The same document would be submitted, while you are submitting a visa application. So this is a very important document. um, you know uh, there is one statistic, which says that about 83% of the applications are refused, you know now are refused because of a poorly written SOP. I will come to that as to why does it happen and how can you take care of it. Okay, so this is today is going to be about how to put together an application package. What all things should you be looking at, what all things should you gather, and about the statement of purpose. All right. So, as I said, first things first, let's talk about what is a statement of purpose. See, guys, basically, as I said, it is something, it is a document, it is a part of your application which will tell your target institution and eventually the High Commission on who you are, and what has prompted you to apply for a particular institution, what has been your career path till now, and what do you want to do after you finish your studies. Okay, so it is basically going to describe your intent, and this document, beyond your academic and your English scores, has a lot of weightage, has a lot of value. It can it is the deciding factor. It could be the deciding factor between admission and a refusal for admission or even visa, right? Now, please understand, in the international education space, where admissions are generally possible, even if you have somewhere between 55 to 60% and above, 60% and above, an IELTS score of somewhere between an IELTS score of 6 and above, equivalent PTE. So, what would make you stand apart? What would make you stand apart, or what document could be a differentiating factor between you and hundreds of other students applying for the same course to the same university? In case of high commission to the same country, why should they give you, why should a particular university give you admission over others? Why should the high commission give you a visa over others? So this is where, since a lot of times you would not be interviewed on phone, but this statement of purpose alone would be the document which is going to talk on your behalf. So, that is why I am emphasizing so much on a statement of purpose being such an important element in your application package. Okay. So, moving ahead, as I said, this is one statistic which says that 83% of the visas and admissions also get refused due to a poorly written statement of purpose, where a student does not know or has not been coded properly on how to write a SOP. Okay, not an SOP. That's an error, but how to write a SOP. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something. So what we've done is basically, during my entire last 10 years of counseling students and parents, I've gone through hundreds and hundreds of statement of purposes, right? And based on the way we have been trained by the parent institutions, based on my experience with looking at students' essays, students' motivation letters, I have put together a small guide, you can say, or a small checklist or a small framework which talks about not only what you should write in a statement of purpose, but what should be the structure of a statement of purpose, but also what to avoid writing, what not to write in a statement of purpose. Okay. So now you would want to know, how have I, on what basis have I prepared this document? As I said, I am being coached, my team is being coached or mentored virtually on a daily basis by the parent institutions on what do they want to see in a student's essay. We have, based on our successes and failures with applications, we have today, based on experience, we know what the admission officers are looking at. So hence, the experience and the knowledge has allowed me to put together this document. I'm going to quickly take you through this document, and this is, I call it the ultimate guide to a rejection proof SOP. And I'm going to share this link with you. Somebody from my team is going to share this link with you right now as I speak, in the chat box and also in the WhatsApp group. Okay. I'm going to give you this template. So this is how this framework looks like. Okay. And now what I've done is, I have also put together the structure of what part should come first. Now based on my experience, what I've seen is, most of the times students struggle is when they actually come down to start writing a statement of purpose. Where I've seen a lot of students telling me that they know in their mind what they want to write, but when it comes to putting together or stitching together their thoughts, or putting down their thoughts in form of a letter, in form of an essay, that is where they struggle. They generally get confused on from where should they start, what should they write, and what not to write. So I've tried to make it easy for you. It is a done for you template. Okay, so here, for example, it says the first paragraph should be of introduction. First paragraph should be about introduction of yourself and your family. We've mentioned what to write. We've also mentioned what not to write. When we say what not to mention, in the sense that we've understood that, for example, if you're talking about your grandparents background, some unnecessary unrelated family history, that is not something which a visa officer or an admission officer is looking to study at. He wants to know more about you, your immediate family, what do your parents do, and your economic conditions, such as, so and so forth. So your then the second point talks about your academic history and the English level. It does not want to, you should not probably mention anything about how were your teachers, or and excessive details about the location of the college, location of the school, things like that. Okay. So this is the guide which we have. This is the template or the framework. It has a total of 9 points. Okay. It has a total of 9 points, so I call it the ultimate guide. These are 9 points which you should talk about in your statement of purpose. So if you follow this, I'm sure it is going to make it really, really super easy for you to write for yourself your essay. And why? Another reason why did I prepare this guide? I came across a lot of posts on social media. A lot of people, suddenly there's a growth of SOP writers. Now, I'm not against them. Honestly, whatever I'm going to say now is not to put down somebody, but the fact that I personally feel, how can somebody write on your behalf? This is not a website content. This is not a blog. This is your story. This is the facts about you. This is your story, facts and data about you. How can somebody else articulate who you are, what have you done, and what do you want to do? Okay, you might tell some facts, share some facts about yourself with others. For example, you might share what is your academic percentage and all, what your IELTS score and all with other. But how can somebody justify, why do they want to start, why do you want to go, what would you plan, what do you plan to achieve after your education? How can somebody else write that on your behalf? So that is why, to reduce your dependency, to remove this fear of looking at a blank screen when actually trying to write, I've put together this template, and I hope really that it's gonna help you put together a good essay. Okay. Now, to the main point, to the main topic of this session, about what is an application package. And this application package is basically a sequence of documents, a series of documents which are required, or a portfolio which basically is required to be submitted for an offer letter, for an admission offer letter to the institute. Okay. So I'm going to talk about what all should you gather, what all should you what should an application packet consist of, and the common mistakes which I have seen in my career as a counselor, the common mistakes which students see. And when I talk about my experience, when, for example, we have submitted an application to an university, and the university gets back to us and it wants some additional information. So we are trying to put together, we have the information I'm about to share basically has been derived from those experiences, good or bad. We out of our best practices, out of our struggles also with students and universities alike, as to what should an application packet look like, so that it is accepted in first attempt without any ping pong between the university, the chosen university, and the student. Okay. So what does an application packet consist of? An application packet would consist of your passport. All right. The first and the last page of your passport. It consist of your English proficiency certificate, your IELTS or PTE scorecard. Okay. Or for that matter, if you're looking for TOEFL or whatever scores the university is looking at, the college is looking at, your academic transcript and degrees. Okay. Now, for example, if you're a 12th pass student, you have to submit your 10th and 12th certificates, the passing certificates and your mark sheets. If you're a bachelor's pass student, the semester wise or the year wise mark sheets and the final degree. If you have not got your final degree, a provisional degree, right? Your if you are working, if you're employed right now, your employment documents we talk about, basically, which would include your offer letter, your appointment letter, right? And if you're currently pursuing, you're still in your job, then your last 3 years income tax returns. If you have left your job, then your experience letter, right? A statement of purpose, as I've talked about before, your application form. Okay, so every college or a university have their own application form. That is what is required. So this is the complete checklist of documentation which is required to be submitted along, at the time of admission at the time of submitting an offer letter, at the time of submitting an application for the offer letter. Okay. Now, what are the common mistakes which students make while filling up an application form? The biggest thing which we have seen is when we ask a student to fill in the application form, because that is the way it should be. You have to submit your own application form. Prepare your own application form, fill out your own application form. The most common things which I see is students miss out on their miss out on submitting their family name. Okay, they have the name which they have entered on the form does not match with the name they have on their passport or their academic degrees. Okay. Second mistake which I've seen, students miss out on submitting their or filling out their correct email ID and a working phone number. I have a mobile phone number is of 10 digits. A lot of times I've seen students writing down a 9-digit phone number, or they have misspelled the email ID. Now, why does it make a difference? Because when you submit an application, there's a confirmation email which comes back from the university, which ideally should go to a student and to the agent alike. Now, we would get that confirmation, but if your email ID is not correct, you would not receive that confirmation, which means that you are again dependent upon your agent to update you with the status of your application. Whereas, truthfully and in an ideal scenario, a student parallelly should be absolutely aware of the status of the application. Okay, so this is why I say that you have to submit a correct email ID and your phone number. Now, phone number, a lot of times when university, what they do is they try to speak to they call up the student and they would want to speak to a student, they would want to speak to you. Now, if they do not have your correct number, then they send us an email that they tried contacting you, the number is not correct. A lot of time is wasted there, and does not make and does not leave a good impression on the admission officer. Okay. Third biggest mistake, students do not fill out the correct intake. Which intake do they want to go in? They do not fill out the correct course code or the correct course name. That is missing in the application form, which again does not make sense. For example, if I'm an admission officer and if you're submitting your application to study at my institute, just imagine if you have not entered your course name, if you have not entered the course correct course ID, course number, or the which month do you want to come in, which intake do you want to come in, what kind of impression would it make on me? What would I think? As an admission officer, I would think this student wants to spend so much of money, is planning to spend so much of money, is planning to make a career, studying at my institute, but does not know which course to study in, does not know which intake to study in. Why? Okay. Fourth question. The in some application forms, universities generally or colleges would want you to fill out a small questionnaire. Again, some universities would want you to write a statement of purpose separately. Some want you to submit a statement of purpose in way of a form which they have prepared. Okay, it has more or less the same questions which I've given you in the guide, so they want you to fill out that form. Those questions are not answered properly. Okay, so that is the next mistake which I've seen. Last, a small thing, which is a very important thing. The signatures on the application form, which ideally are to be done by you, because you are the one who is applying to study in a particular institution or university, do not match with your signatures on the passport. Okay. Now, why would it make a difference? It does make a difference. For example, if I am going to study in XYZ university in Canada, and if I have signed the form, 99%, unless and until my passport is 15 to 10 years old, which cannot be the scenario. Okay, the signatures should match. There should not be too much of not too much of a major difference between my current signatures and the one which I had done at the time of making the passport. Okay, what so if the signatures do not match, the impression which it gives to the admission officer is that somebody else had filled out. Somebody else has filled out the form, which is a negative impact, which puts a negative impact on the application. And generally, uh, these 5 points are also the reasons for admission refusal. Okay, because if an admission officer, if he wants to speak to you, if he wants to send you an email on whatever thing, and if he's not able to contact you beyond a certain time, if he doesn't get a response, he's going to refuse the application. Okay, if he sees that the statement of purpose is not prepared correctly, does not justify, does not explain your intent clearly, he's going to refuse you admission. Okay, if some important detail such as your academic percentage, or your your information is not mentioned correctly on the application form, or is your application form is incomplete, has wrong information, has wrong course name, has wrong intake, is going to refuse the application. So these are the things which you need to look at. Guys, please understand. These are small things, but they talk a lot about your preparedness and your intent to study abroad. And at the end of the day, please be advised that it is the intent and it is your level of preparedness which is going to be a make or break thing, when it comes to seeking admission or even visas to study in your dream country. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys today. uh, there are small other factors which you should also consider. Okay, now certain countries like UK, for example, or even Australia, they are taking a telephonic or even a Skype interview, with the student. They would want to speak to the student, because, and that generally happens is when the statement of purpose is not written by you. Please be advised that a lot of these universities are using a lot of technology, a lot of artificial intelligence technology to see if a statement of purpose is plagiarized. Now, what does plagiarism mean? Plagiarism mean that when a university is able, or the admission officer is able to make out or judge that the content or whatever is written is copied from somewhere, or has a similar pattern with other statement of purposes received, prepared by other students. So if he has a doubt somewhere, either the admission officer or the visa officer, they would want to interview you. They want to speak to you one to one and understand your intent. So these are small things which you should consider. So that is why I say, a stitch in time saves nine. If you would have prepared your essay yourself, if you have written it authentically, and using the framework or the guide which you've given to you, and obviously we will help you refine that also when and if you want to work with us. Okay, so the you can avoid further scrutiny into your application, but these are this factor you should also consider. Then you should this is very common sense. You should know about your course, your fee structure, your intake, what subjects are you going to study, which location are you going to study in. Okay, and you should also be absolutely honest about your personal information, about your family's economic status, your family's financial preparedness, on how are they going to support you, who's going to fund you, who's going to sponsor you. You have to be absolutely honest with these things, because these admission guys, these visa officers are also Indians now. The applications, a lot of all the institutions, admission teams are based out of India. you know the most of the visa decisions are taken in embassies of the respective country in India, where they have Indian staff who understand the market, who understand a student's psyche, who understand our agent's psyche. And they that is why we see a lot of students wasting their time, wasting their money, wasting their effort, because just because they are solely dependent upon whatever their agent says. They have not researched themselves. They do not know what is happening with their application. There's absolutely no transparency. They have not bothered to written a script on purpose yourself. It is not the agents who are at fault. It is a lot of students and parents also who do not want to do the work themselves, and instead kind of put an agent or agency under obligation to do even this basic things for them. For example, they want their agent to submit their write down their fill up their application form. They want their agent to submit their prepare their statement of purpose. So you need to look at these things. And if you're looking to make a great career, successful career, if you don't want to waste your time and money exchanging emails, playing ping pong between the university, or saving yourself from rejection of an application being refused at any stage, please look at this section, look at the points, hear out the points which I've talked about, and feel free to discuss with me or my team. So this is what I wanted to speak to you about today. And um, thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys can make out or can get some valuable, you could get some valuable information from this session on how should you be going about preparing your application. And if you have any questions, if you have any queries, please feel free to reach out to me or my team in the Facebook group which we have shared with you. I'm going to have my team again share the Facebook group link in the WhatsApp group. And I will see you tomorrow, where we are going to submit applications to your chosen institutes. All right. Until then, please stay safe and speak soon. All right. Bye bye.